Welcome to the Miami Heat Beat Postgame Show. I'm your host, Franky G on Blue Sky. You can find me there. With me today, Saucy Takez. Coach Lou, how you doing?
Oh my fucking God, man. I'm so fucking mad. I'm upset. This roller coaster of emotions just to be let down and depressed at the end of it. Sad day. Sad day.
Man, what a roller coaster of emotions that was, especially if you didn't catch the game. He struggled all night. Pistons shot the lights out. At one point, they were 16 of 21 from three. Like everything, like my hashtag is Malik Beasley just hit another three. He finished the game with 7 threes. It felt like anything the Heat did, good or bad defensively, they just fucking weren't gonna miss. And fourth quarter comeback, 33-17 in the fourth quarter, including a 18-2 run to close the game, led by Jimmy Butler and Tyler Herro to force overtime. Started the overtime 6 straight points, so it was a 24-2 run in total. Lou, give me the raw emotions. How you feeling?
My goodness, like honestly, I felt like officiating had a lot to do with today's game. It was just frustrating the whole game, but man, starting off the game, like it was so bleh. Like, honestly, if you watch today's game, I'm sorry to whoever watched the first 3 quarters of basketball because it was fucking dreadful. Like, the offense was bad, aside from Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was the only positive light today in an abyss of darkness in the first 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, they started chipping away, started turning it around, you know, to the point that once he hit that 3, it felt like once Tyler hit that 3, oh, it was like, oh, shit, it's our game to lose. And then we saw how OT came out. Frankie, you saw how we came out? And then they didn't miss again, bro. Like, my fucking God. Like, what a roller coaster of a game. I see people in the chat saying, I know this game cost us a full seed. Absolutely. Undoubtedly. We're probably in the play-in just after this game alone at the end of the season. But I don't know. Sad day. Those fucking 5 days that they gave us off again, by the way.
They like sit in that shit.
They're doing that shit on purpose. It's despicable.
Yeah, man. Like there was a lot to talk about for sure. You can't talk about this game without talking about the effort in the first 3 quarters. They just looked lackadaisical. Whatever you want to say about the Pistons shooting like that, that's out of your control. You know, sometimes teams are going to hit tough shots, but just some of the effort on some of those shots was so fucking poor. No second chance, second rotations, third rotations. It was just too easy, too much in rhythm stuff. And then getting beat off the dribble too. Like you can't not rotate to the shooters and get beat off the dribble. Like pick a struggle. And they just we're doing everything to the Heat defense. No show from Bam offensively for most of the game. He started off 7 points in the first, finishes with 15 in a game that went to overtime. Like need more from your max player in the game like this. Jimmy had it going. For his stat line, 35 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, and a plus 11 in a game you lost by 1. Like this was a Jimmy Butler game, like a throwback Jimmy, like pay me my fucking money, Jimmy Butler game.
44 minutes too, Frankie.
44 minutes. Like Lou, to talk about Jimmy's game, his effort and his performance tonight.
He was sensational. Like I don't think he had a bad quarter. Like the effort was there. Everything we have asked for from Jimmy Butler this season, he has delivered tenfold, in my opinion. Like that is a man determined to get his money. That's what it looks like, Frankie. And I applaud him for that because it's leading us to competitive basketball. Like, you know, probably should have won today. especially against the caliber of team we played against. I'm not saying we should have beat them. Like, let's be honest. But Jimmy just, again, another sensational game, controlling the pace of the game offensively. I thought like in the first half, they reverted a lot back to like the old just ISO Jimmy, because the handoff, credit Detroit, the handoff stuff was not working damn near the whole game. Like the pin downs to handoffs, it was not working. They were disrupting Tyler and Duncan, and they just really, were struggling, but Jimmy was basically keeping them afloat, generating every look. All of that usage, all those 44 minutes, Frankie, 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
Insane performance by Jimmy Butler. Like, absolutely fucking, like, it was one of those games. And defensively, you saw him turn it up on the fourth. Like, and I'm so glad they did this. They put Drew Smith on Cade. They took Jimmy off of him. And they just said, Jimmy, you're playing free safety. Do whatever you want. And he responded time after time. He, leaving if there was one guy to leave open today, it was Asar Thompson. Jimmy Butler did that, and it paid dividends. Like, he just played the math game, and it worked for them. So he had himself a fucking game today.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll show a couple plays here, starting with this touchdown pass by Kevin Love on a Sunday for an easy layup. When Jimmy takes it, like no backboard, those kind of lips, I'm always like, fuck Jimmy. I hope you still have enough legs there to hit those. But we'll show a couple highlights here. This was a real tough broken play and one by Tyler. Had this man in jail. Broken play, and he makes something out of it. I want to get to the positives of this game. Got in front of him, beat him, got the foul, and nice touch to hit the shot. This is the shot I want to talk about. Like, Tyler on the inbound, down 3, 11 and a half seconds to go. I love this play call, using Jimmy as a decoy here. Got options to go. It breaks down. Tyler hits a tough shot. It's 100% should have been a 4-point play. Cade did not give him any room to fucking land. Swiped his legs. Tyler did sell it a little bit, but if you look how his legs fall like that, that's probably why he didn't get the call. But what a shot! And this was a game that Tyler was completely out of it. And in the fourth quarter, 13 points, 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep in the fourth quarter to give the Heat a chance. And that's just something like that you can't overstate. Like his ability to get hot at any moment's notice. And this is a second straight game at Detroit. He does this, gets hot in the fourth quarter and gives them a chance. Cooper Moorhead from the Miami Heat said, like, the Pistons are shooting great, but wait till they get to their stall offense, their prevent offense. And that's when the Heat turned the pressure up, got some stops, and and Tyler gave him a chance. Unfortunately, didn't have enough. But talk about Tyler. This was a game he didn't shoot the ball well. He finished 9 for 25, 23 points, but 4 for 17 from deep. Like, I would take those. Like, this is one bad game he's had, and he still gave us moments. Like, this was one of his worst games, and there were still a lot of moments. I didn't like some of the shot selections in overtime, but I had a lot of problems with overtime in general. We'll get to that too. But just talk about Tyler's game for a little bit.
I mean, yeah, he was struggling in the first 3 quarters, like, really pretty severely. He got hot down the stretch, but again, like, the shot profile, like, my thing is he hasn't deviated from the shot profile. So those are the positive takeaways. Like, yes, he forced a couple of those threes. It's, when the offense was as bad as it was today and nobody was doing anything. Yeah, last 2 minutes of regulation, Tyler is first team All-NBA.
Absolutely.
Yeah, close to it at least. But, with like the amount of times that the offense was just dead, shut off like my Christmas tree, there was just no spark to it. Like, Tyler had to put some shit up, and he was. And, to his credit, like, the 2 guys who were tasked with guarding Tyler Herro today was Asar and Ron Holland. Like, those are 2 of the most athletic players just in the league in general. They're really young and they're athletic. They're rangy. They're guys Tyler typically struggles with. Mm-hmm. But he was able to eventually find a counter and contribute to try to win a basketball game. And, in previous seasons, this would have just been an off day for Tyler, and that would have been over. Like, it would have just been, he would have gone back to the pull-up middies and missed those, and we would have been done for. But he he found a way to contribute. But Franky, I think, honestly, just to deviate a little bit from Tyler here, I think that the issue with the ref call, to me, wasn't the Tyler one. It was the Jimmy in overtime not getting a foul with 5 seconds left.
Oh, I got the shoeless Jimmy play where he
oh my God,
right at the start of the possession, loses the shoe, Bam drives, kicks the shoe, takes a fadeaway, misses it. Jimmy with the offensive rebound, put back, one shoe. I was also like, Jimmy, why are you putting your shoe on right now? Like, go fucking run back on defense. And Cade gets right to the basket because they're playing 5-on-4. I'm like, Jimmy, come on. Like,
Please.
Just play with one shoe, bro. Not Jimmy's best decision there on the night. But, that was just a microcosm of everything going wrong with the Heat. Like, you have to play perfect tonight with the comeback. And it, you fall short, but I think there was some good to take from this for sure. Like you had the effort after, to come back, the fake comeback, as Heat fans like to call it, to make it a clutch game, to give yourself a chance. Like, you got to feel good about that. Like, if we're on our P's and Q's, like we're competitive with anybody, even though this is only the Pistons, but you're on the road. This is you've struggled on the road all season. You're now 5-7 on the road. Like, you need to accumulate some wins there, and this was the opportunity. This is the second time in Detroit specifically that you've lost in the clutch and you didn't maintain things, and that's unfortunate. But like, you had opportunities, and like when the season comes to a close, these are 2 games you're going to look back on and be frustrated on. But like, you can absolutely spin this into a positive and take a lot from this. Your guys, just have to be sharper consistently. But I want to talk about the fourth quarter decisions, overtime decision. I'm sorry, Drew Smith picks up his 6th foul. You helping off on Cade, who had an amazing game.
By the way, he had a huge fourth
Cade
quarter.
had 20 points, 18 assists, 11 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Mm-hmm. Like, for as much as he handles the ball, 4 turnovers, 18 assists, that's a great ratio. But he helps off, tries to take a charge, 50-50 call. I don't mind him trying to take it. Duncan comes in for him, and I think that was to close the fourth. In overtime, you do not put in Haywood Highsmith for fucking Terry Rozier or Duncan Robinson. One of them has to be on the bench. You cannot go this much. And it's not a surprise to me that they started off hot, 6-0, and then they quickly floundered the lead because of those guys can't stay on the floor. Terry doesn't defend. Duncan tries, but can't defend either. And that's it. Like, Terry Rozier gave you 5 minutes of cardio in overtime.
Terry Rozier special. No, I mean, he wasn't horrible today. I thought he was better than usual, but it wasn't impressive again. Like, just a frustrating, I guess, decision. I do think, like, today you felt like the Heat were, I personally, in my opinion, I felt like the Heat were shorthanded today. Like, and I can feel it on the court. Like, no Pell, no Nico. I think this could have been, there would have been some minutes for both of these guys, in my opinion, if they were just healthy. Because the defense was needed, some kind of spark offensively was needed. Highsmith didn't really have a good game today. It's been a couple of those, but if they're so reliant on Haywood Highsmith, Franky, to just have a decent game, because it's so bad when Highsmith is bad, the depth looks so much worse. So we need a, and without Pell, which is probably like the closest thing to a Highsmith that we have off the bench, even though they're not remotely the same, but just somebody with that level of defensive activity and intensity off the ball. You really feel it in a game like today. Just not the best game.
For sure. But I think nobody but Jimmy was having a good game, and Haywood was not excluded from that. I think you give him another run, and it's not like Terry has. I don't know why Terry has earned this leash from from Spo and the coaching staff. Maybe it's the the compromise to get him to accept the bench role. But 12 minutes of fourth quarter play, 5 minutes of overtime, like you're constantly the formula, this winning streak and this stretch of games that you've been really good and effective is have one of Haywood or Dru on the floor at all times, and it was not an exception tonight. Dru was the guy who had it going plus 21 team high.
Yep.
And a 1-point loss. And that's the formula. You need one of these guys. You cannot survive. You're asking Jimmy and Bam too much to cover up all those guys' weakness defensively. They're constantly bringing Tyler into pick and rolls and to attack him. He did his best, but he's against the Pistons. They're one of the more athletic and rangy sized wings, young groups in the league. Like you said, that he struggles against those guys. He's doing a lot for you offensively in general. Like you need to help him, and you're not helping him by having Terry, Duncan, and all these pressure points on defense.
No, I absolutely agree. And if we take out Terry Rozier played 17 minutes in the fourth quarter and overtime combined. Like he played every single one of those minutes. The Heat came back. How much of it had to do with him? I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't think it was much, but he had a little bit of moments, but the previous 17 minutes, he was a minus 12. And that's the issue. He was the Heat's consistent issue sometimes, like at least the way that I feel lately when throughout the progression of these basketball games is the first quarter is typically, it can be up or down. Then they have a stretch in the second quarter. Towards the end of the second quarter, once the starters come back in for majority and they stay with one or two of the bench guys where they pick things up. That was the case again today. They were getting they were down like 12 early in the second. Then Terry comes back off and we start picking up some offense. Jimmy starts doing his thing. Him and Dru Smith came in together. That tandem is really working defensively because it gives Miami a point of attack defender to appease to just help the team, because today it was so many of these Cade Cunningham assists were him just absolutely annihilating his man off the dribble, Bam helping, and nobody helping Bam. Like it was like 3 or 4 backdoor lobs or dunks on the baseline. It was so much of that today, and Dru Smith really helped that. Terry doesn't help you with that whatsoever.
And we saw the last play, like that wasn't his fault. The Thunder, the Pistons took advantage of a 5-on-4 because Jimmy's putting his shoe back on. But like the fact that it wasn't even something that they found an open guy. It was just Cade finds Terry and attacks him 1-on-1 and gets to the basket is the frustrating part, because like that's just like there's no resistance on the from that guy. He needs to be better than that. Like at least force up a tough shot, like make him. Beat him to the spot and make him pick up his dribble. And no, it was just got taken right to the cup, and giving up a layup at that point of the game was just really frustrating, man. And let's close off on Bam. Tough game from him. Like I just felt like he was uninvolved. Like there was one play in the overtime where Tyler drove, got forced to help. He kicks to Bam, and Bam just looks completely unready. And Bam looks away instead of taking the baseline jumper. Looks away, goes to a dribble handoff, and it's just like, Bam, shoot the fucking ball. Like, shoot the fucking ball.
You know what it is? You know why Bam didn't look as good? Because the handoff stuff wasn't working. Like, yeah, that's been the Heat's offense. The way that they've generated looks has been, Bam with Duncan and Tyler creating some of these. Like, that's the way Bam has been involved offensively. They completely shut that out.
They also didn't give him in the high post a lot.
No,
to get involved that way.
Yeah,
this was a Jimmy had it going. They were trying to get Jimmy run the offense through Jimmy a lot of this game, and Jimmy was very successful. Maybe it froze out Bam a little bit, but those are still possessions where I just think Bam isn't ready to shoot all the time, and he's just like his hands weren't ready, his body language is poor, and like. Look, Bam played 41 minutes. Jaime played 19, and they had the same amount of shots. And that's a little bit of that is on Jaime, but Bam needs to be more aggressive there. And those are spots where Tyler sets him up perfectly, and he just wasn't ready to shoot. Like I don't know if he lost his head again or what.
I don't know. I think Bam struggles so hard to find a balance offensively on when to facilitate and when to score, that like in games like this, when in particular when Jimmy has it going, he almost defers too much.
Mm.
And that's kind of what it's felt like. I don't know. Just Bam could have been better offensively. I mean, you touched a little bit on Jaime too. Like, oh man,
I just want to watch this play again because what a
yeah.
shot.
This was
Jaime had a rough, like he scored 13 points, 5 of 12 shooting, but 4 assists. But like, I don't feel his minutes with Terry off the bench are very strong. What a shot, man. Just fucking incredible shot. Put enough arc on that, enough touch. Great fucking close by Tyler.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think just in general, like the Jaime minutes alongside, I mean, anybody alongside Terry, it feels like, but Jaime just in general hasn't been like, we talked about it, Franky, how during like we wanted Jaime in the summer league to do some things that showed he can play off ball. He was on ball the entire time.
Yeah.
And
it's not like he didn't have a capable point guard in that setting.
Yeah. And it quite entirely contrary to that, because like they had a very good point guard in that setting. Like his off ball, like I don't know what it's, his catch and shoot, his low volume. He's basically just a one trick pony. And then offensively, but then defensively, what is he doing? Who does he guard right now? He got beat off the dribble on closeouts by Fontecchio, like 2 out of 3 closeouts he did. He's literally turning into a turnstile. Some of these lobs, he's the low man and he's supposed to help Bam when Bam helps off the drive. He's nowhere to be seen. In the zone, he feels lost. I'm more worried about his defense at this point than his offense at this point. Like, yeah. I know what he is offensively. If the shots fall, good, and if they don't, all right. But like his defense has been just, I don't know. To me personally, it's left too much to be desired so far.
Yeah, you see, like we talked about this with Draft Beat, but like you can see the difference in athleticism when he's playing against the Pistons, like when he's matched up against real athletes. Like we talk about, like people were trashing us for it, and they were like, yeah, look at this dunk though. Look, what are you talking about? Look at his vertical, and then you see like he's not jumping all fucking game. That's not athleticism in the NBA. That's not
it's the agility, the lack of lateral quickness.
The hip flexibility,
the hip flexibility, the ability to get low and really be able to move his feet sometimes and burst or accelerate.
Yeah. We have 2 guys above 35 on the team, and sometimes Jaime moves the slowest. But
I don't know what it is.
As chat says, that they were down 19 with 8.5 minutes to go.
Yep.
Like for this to be a game, like I was already like sad about this. Just I was kind of happy because I felt like the Heat have had too many off days and probably feel way too good about themselves. They need to like
come back to earth.
Come back to earth a little bit. Like this wasn't a perfect stretch. This was a lot of like, hey, we caught these teams at the right time, or we got really hot at the right time. We were playing the right way. Somebody's gonna throw us a curveball, like, and we've got to be ready. And they weren't ready. They got punched in the fucking mouth over and over again. And they were kind of waiting for the Pistons to sink down to their level instead of them rising to the Pistons level. And that's, once they did it in the fourth, they gave it their all for, 6 minutes or whatever it was. And, they ran out of gas, but that's on them. This should not have been as big of a deficit as it was. They didn't come out ready. They had all these days off in between for them to be fully rested, and they have more days off. They don't play again until Friday. So, I let this needs to sink in their minds and think about this and recover and recuperate. Carl Tiana says Spo rotations are awful. MIA says it was easier to play Jaime with better defenders last year, so he was more hidden. This year he's got Terry and K Love in his unit. I think that's a great point. But that's also something I brought up with Dru, that they had too many defensive first guys last year. They needed more offense. Now this year's the other way around. You took out Caleb, Kyle, and Josh. Not all great defenders last year, but that they lean defense and they're more defensive minded. This year, it's a lot more offensive minded guys.
To Torre MIA's point, that defensive trio of those three, not counting today's game, is giving up 127 points per possession, and they're minus 14 on the court, like net rating. So, yeah. A lot of it has to do with what around Jaquez. What does the defense look like, and it hasn't been particularly good.
Yeah, and we'll, I do want to say that I'm surprised here, but the Terry, Jaime, Bam trio is a plus 2.9 net rating in 147 minutes. And it's mostly defensively. They have like an average defense, a slightly above average offense. So 110.54 defensive rating. I think if you tweak it and play through Bam a little bit more, which I don't understand why they don't initially, but let Bam be the playmaker, let Terry and you can still let Terry and Jaime score off that, but like let Jaime set screens, cuts, get mismatches and post up those guys. Terry come flying off a handoff, flying off a pin down, like get a bent defense in your favor so you can make something out of that, and then let Bam make decisions and play off that. Like that's gets Bam involved a lot more. Too much Jaime and Terry dribbling the ball, and they haven't been effective enough scorers and ball handlers to do that. Poltergeist says Eric Reed started the game off shitting on Detroit fans, duped us from the start.
He's been on a generational run. I said
he
it on the
really
last
has.
podcast.
He really has, man. I was, you know how ready I was, Lou, for this to be a blowout. Look what I had ready in the pipeline to talk about.
Clinched.
The Skyforce clinched their spot to compete for the championship at the 2024 G League Winter Showcase. Josh Christopher, Summer League legend, for the Heat, having a hell of a season 2A. I'm surprised he hasn't. I think he'll get a shot eventually, but with the Heat.
We should mention too, Frankie. Where's the news? Can we have the moose? Thomas Bryant's been traded.
Yes, we haven't got it on a pod. TB.
Thomas Bryant for a 2031 second round pick swap to the Indiana Pacers. How did you feel? Because I personally like the deal for Miami.
Oh yeah, I'm just glad they didn't have to dump him with something.
There you go. That's a word. That's what I'm talking about.
How many the Deadman they had to dump and give up a pick.
Yep.
And like that's just stuff like that. That's why they're in the predicament that they are.
Whitesides.
Yeah, they can't. They have to just give up assets to get off these contracts that they're just hoping to do it. And like he's already a marquee player over there. Like already played for them. Surprisingly, like
3 for 3.
Look at this guy.
Woo-hoo!
He was like a plus 11 or something like that.
My girl said he looks like Charlemagne. I was like, oh, Thomas Bryant got traded. She's like, who's that? I'm like, the one you say is Charlemagne. She's like, oh no, not the podcast. But
Carla Tiana's asking if we can get that for Terry. I wish. Trying to say Expo wasted TB.
Wasted him. No, I mean, now I think the Heat have 2 weeks to respond, if I remember correctly, to add a 14th man to the roster. Yeah. I mean, I think it goes without saying. I do believe that is entirely going to be Drew Smith. I think he's earned it too. Like, I don't think they're just giving it to him to give it to him. But another thing this does is it puts him in a position to completely fill out the roster. We've been fielding 14 people since Jimmy's been here. It's felt like, am I wrong? Like
before Jimmy, this has been a Nikias,
we'll never have a complete
Duncan,
roster.
Like the ire of his fucking Heat fandom. Just Udonis Haslem is the 14th man, and you're playing with 13 deep every year.
So I mean, I believe it's pretty obvious Drew Smith is going to get that 14th roster spot. I do think the two-way spot is going to go to Isaiah Stevens. Shout out the real draft beat people. They know what we talk about, man. He leads the G League right now in assists per game too. Shout out big Isaiah Stevens.
Yeah, he's been playing great too. Like just phenomenal basketball, and I love that he's I definitely think he's gonna get a lot of opportunities in the Skyforce this season. I think it's great for him to Stevens to get his weight up. Like we saw how much of a difference it made for Caleb Daniels, who was like one of the toughest watches last year, and then in this summer league was much stronger, much more confident, and for Stevens was still better just coming out of college. So if Stevens can build some of that strength, and even if they don't give him that 2-way, if it's just like a under the table handshake agreement, we're going to take care of you. Just stick with us. I still wouldn't play with that. I would just give him the 2-way if Drew gets the regular. But I hope Isaiah Stevens sticks with the roster, because I think he's got a lot of fun potential.
Do you think that they'll? I guess the last question I ask is: do you think they'll convert Kashad to the other 15th roster spot? Because I tend to believe that they're just going to hold off on that roster spot through the buyout market, see if anybody becomes available that would interest them. And if there isn't, then they'll probably convert somebody else.
Yeah, I think so. I think that you save that roster spot for any potential trades or anything like that.
Exactly. That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
Like you have to see where at that point in the season, where are you? How's your health and everything? And a lot of these, being a first apron team, you have a lot of these teams that have to be these trades have to be multiplayer deals to get salaries for you guys. So it makes sense to keep some roster spots open. Maybe they have something in the wings. We saw the Pistons just kind of manipulate that. They waived Paul Reed and then they re-signed him, and then he played tonight. So, chat saying Terry for 2 overpaid role players that can play backup 5 and backup point. Team is definitely mid. This team is mediocre. Got our tuberculosis healed. Wave J Rich and give the same opportunity for Josh Christopher. Go ahead.
If everybody's down bad today, we play the Thunder on Friday.
And the vibes were so great.
Just yesterday.
Just one loss
later.
I love how when Heat fans treat the season like it's the NFL season. Like the sample size isn't 4 or 5 times.
Literally 5x.
Yeah, we lost to the Titans, the fucking Titans.
But guys, don't you worry. We play the Thunder on Friday.
Pat Polterghost says, got us hoping for G League players.
That's not the loss. That's how it happened. Trust me.
His team will somehow beat the Thunder.
Dude, if they beat the Thunder, I'll be fucking amazed.
Somebody speculated Shea might get the night off because it's he has the cup action and it'll be like 3 games in 4 nights, so he might take the night off.
That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah,
the Heat are the team that they're like, yeah, take the night.
That's how they're treating us. G Leaguer's our savior. Yes, he is. His name is Drew Bleepin Smith. Code Drew, South Beach Drew. How do you feel about the Code Drew nickname?
Code Drew?
Yeah, that's what 5 Reasons gave Drew Smith and Bam a list of nicknames for Drew.
That's awful.
And Bam said Code Drew because
we need Bam away from decision-making nicknames for life. That's awful.
I like South Beach Drew. Chat, if you guys, they said Glue Smith. That's not bad.
I like that one over Code Drew.
Carletiano says Ethan stealing this bit. Chat saying Miami sports are down bad. Majin Drew. That's pretty good. Oh man, we need some photoshops. Chat. Leche's agenda is not in the chat today. What the hell's going on? You dropped the ball, Leches. Some of our Photoshop masters, give us some Majin Drew, some best photoshops for your Drew Smith nicknames and imaging for us, and if we'll credit you and might post it if on the show next time. So Heat lose 124-125 in Detroit. They play again on Friday versus Oklahoma City. They're back at home for a game.
They got traded for 5 reasons.
That's funny.
G is just fucking Pat Riley at the wheel, I guess.
Oh, fucking G. Should have sold high. Fucking, that's it's Heat beat culture. God damn it.